Welcome back. We're ready to write the script for our shades. Let's open the text controller. And here we go. So, what's the first step of writing code, Nate?
ChatGPT!
Not yet. Very soon. But the first step of writing code for yourself is to... That's right. That's right. It's to be like Winnie the Pooh, Pooh Bear. Think, think, think. And if you make fun of Winnie the Pooh, we're going to have problems because Winnie the Pooh is the best. He's actually the smartest of all of them. He's Socrates. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go look it up.
We touched a nerve real quick on this video. This is getting someplace
sure
deep.
Did. Don't go messing with Winnie the Pooh. But yes, Nate is right. Our first step is we're going to hit dash dash and we are going to start thinking about what is it that needs to happen when button is pressed. And because these are toggle buttons, they certainly become true usually when you poke them. All right, they flip-flop, okay? But so if became true, then we are going to want to do some things. What are some things we're going to want to do when that button is pressed and becomes true? We're going to want to
turn the relay on.
Yep, turn the appropriate relay on. And then what? Think about the buttons.
Okay, after it's on, we got to wait variable number of seconds.
Yep, after 2 seconds, and we're just gonna write the 2 seconds at the moment. After 2 seconds, then we need to do what?
Then we turn the relay off.
We're gonna turn relay off, yes. And what else? We're gonna turn the button off.
That's right. The button's still on because it's a toggle button.
Yeah, because it's a toggle button. So we're gonna turn that button back off. Turn button off. And if we think about it, this is basically the same general pattern for really all of the buttons. So let's start. I bet we can write at least most of this. So how do we talk about when the button is pressed? What's our syntax there, Nate?
That's our controls tab dot button tab dot e tab.
You actually have nailed it.
I'm speaking in keystrokes.
You are, but you've nailed it. And none of this says Nate. So that's beautiful.
Oh, no, so when I make my function and you put the word CTL to transfer the control into the function, I'm using Nate as the local variable that comes into the function.
Classic
If Nate.boolean equals,
I love it. I might even do that in your honor at some point. Okay, controls.btnup.eventhandler is a function. We're going to pass in the CTL because we know and love that. And so on the inside, all right, so that's line 1, right? Again, see how this works, right? We make a game plan and then we just start executing it. All right, so that's line 1, when the button is pressed. Then line 2, if it became true. We know how to say that as well. If CTL.boolean, then end, and I'm making a little note to myself that I'm ending the if. You don't have to do that. It's something I particularly do because it helps me from making boo-boos. So it's a practice. It's my practice. You're welcome to take it. All right, let's try line number 3, turn relay on. Okay, so that's going to be controls dot pin relay up dot boolean. And we're going to set that to be true. And
now we got to wait. So
we've got to wait.
So I'm just going to enter like 20 carriage returns, and I think that's probably going to be about 2 seconds.
You're definitely wrong. That's not going to work. We are going to make use of something that you don't know. We've got to do another one of these injections of knowledge because what we need is, it's kind of like a loop, but things like for loops run on logic. What we need is something like a loop that runs on time. What we are looking for is a timer. And in Q-SYS, timers come in 2 flavors, and we're going to use the simple one right now. In Q-SYS, our simple timer is called the call after. It's in the timer library, which is one of the extensions to Lua that Q-SYS has gifted into the Lua environment. And it looks like this, timer.callAfter. And then it has two arguments. One is a function to run, and then comma, the t, the time in seconds to wait before it does it. All right, now there's a few things to sort out here. So when we talk about time in Q-SYS, you should know this. All time in Q-SYS is reckoned in seconds. That means that 1 minute is 60. That 1 hour is 3,600. That 1 millisecond is 0.001. Whatever. Sometimes I'm not good with the decimal points. The point is that time runs on seconds in Q-SYS. Okay. Secondly, if I were naming these things, there's nothing wrong with call after, but because I'm Southern and we rename things as we see fit, I would call this a timer.doLater because it's not a wait. Okay, if you are familiar with waits from other languages, this ain't it. This is a do later. In my mind, Lua is sitting there cooking and running down the lines of code, and then it hits call after and it goes, oh, okay. And it picks up that pot and it sets it on the back burner and sets a little timer, and then it comes back over here to the main pot and keeps on cooking, and it waits for that timer to go ding to go do whatever was over here in that pot that you put on the back burner. A timer.callAfter is a timer.doLater. It doesn't wait, it does it later. In fact, the code just keeps on running, and whatever you've put inside that function is set aside until the time elapses.
And there's no way of stopping it either, right?
That's actually a really important point.
Unless you pull the power cable. That'll do it.
Nate's right. This is one of the particular aspects of this tool that you need to be aware of. It's kind of like playing global thermonuclear war. Once you start, you can't stop. Once you start a timer.callAfter, it's going to run to completion. You can't cancel it.
It's a little weird that the slogans for global thermonuclear war are the same as Pringles. That once you start, you can't stop.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a thing. Also, not sponsored.
Yet. Pringles, call me.
Let's make use of our timer.callAfter. This is the syntax. Timer.callAfter takes a function, takes time. Let's give this a shot. So let's come back to our script. In the timer library, look at this, TIM. Do you want the timer library? I don't mind if I do. Dot, and ooh, look, callAfter. And there it is, once again, a little hint, timer.callAfter takes a function, comma, delay. Okay, they called it delay, we called it T in the slide. Timer.callAfter. And the two arguments, the second one's the easier one, it's the time. So let's get that one in. Where are we going to get the time from, Nate?
We made a knob for it.
We did. We made a knob.
Controls dot knob hold time.
Knob hold time, KNB hold time.
Dot value.
Dot value.
Yeah.
That's probably the first time we've used dot value. Knobs run on numbers. And that's why we are typically looking for dot value. When we were using toggles, it was dot Boolean. That was our typical go-to. All of those control tree aspects they exist on all of the controls. It's just there are certain ones that are more natural for their particular operations. Knobs are almost always, you're probably going to be interested in the dot value. So there we are. Okay, so we got the second argument in there pretty easily. So let's do the first one. It said we needed to run a function inside of it. Nate, you ready?
We don't have any functions in here.
Nope, but as the kids say, hold on to your butt and let's do this.
That's what they all famously say.
They
Every
did.
kid says that all the time.
Here we go. Keyword function. Doesn't have any arguments, and it definitely is going to end. And on the inside here, what did we want to have happen? We said we wanted to turn off the relay, so that's going to be controls dot pin relay up dot Boolean is going to be false, and then controls dot btn up dot boolean equals false. And there we go. What did we do? We defined a function right inside of the argument that we passed in.
Argument is a function.
Exactly. This looks weird. Frankly, it just does. However, syntactically, it's perfectly fine.
I mean, syntactically, couldn't it just be one really long line too?
Syntactically, it could just be one really long line
Yeah.
as well. Probably would work out just fine. This at least kind of makes sense, but I don't like it. I don't like it at all, and I bet Nate doesn't like it either.
Yeah.
And I bet you don't like it at home as well. But first of all, recognize this is syntactically fine. We defined a function, right? It needed a function. We gave it a function for it to run. We just defined it right there in the dadgum argument list. I think we could do it differently. I think we could do it better.